the modern day third-person, first-person shooters and other adventure games that have come out, I have not yet come across another game such as this. This is Subnautica. It's been called the Minecraft of the sea, and you will see why. See why? See what I did there? See what I did there? S-E-A? Ha ha! That's not funny. Let's get into the game. Nevertheless, the first thing you are going to see is that there are several different types of modes. There are survival modes where you do have to eat and drink to stay alive, as well as a creation mode, kind of like Minecraft does, where you can build whatever you want without restraint. But at this moment, I am playing in freedom mode, which is survival without having to keep yourself alive. You still take damage, you still can get injured, but you're not going to starve or be without water and die that way, because that is not fun. Who really wants that kind of realism in a game? Not me. I mean, some people do, but I was never a fan of it in Fallout, so I'm not going to do it here. As we load in here, you are going to see the plot unfold. In fact, it is a pretty simple plot. You crash land a ship onto an alien planet, and you're in the middle of the ocean trying to survive. That is Subnautica's plot, of course, at least as you know it at the beginning. As the game loads in, you are in the escape pod of the Aurora, the ship that crashed. The escape pod is a pretty simple design. You can go above and below it. You can see the ship there. It's on fire. That's not good. In the ship, you have some basic supplies. You have, of course, a fabricator that can create different types of tools and things you will need. You have a locker that you can use to store items, and you have a medkit creation tool. Now, these won't be available to you until you create a repair tool to repair the pod. When you first hit the ground, it is damaged, and you can do that by finding resources out in the world for you to build this repair tool with and get your pod up and running. It will show you the stats here on the wall. The fabricator is pretty simple itself. You click on it. It has all sorts of resources and things you can create, finding things throughout the ocean, and you can use these again to build different tools. There's all sorts of different things, as you can see here, that you can do with this fabricator. You can create tools that will help you better dive and better search. You can also eventually create things you can deploy, such as a rebreather or beacons that you can use to find different places, and eventually you will be able to create vehicles and other high-tech equipment as well. As you first leave the pod, you will be thrown out into the ocean. Oh my gosh, it's dark out here. What are we doing? Oh, this is terrifying. I will go ahead and give you a warning that if you have any fear of swimming around in the water, and that fear can be even if you're not in the water, like in a video game, say, this is probably not the game for you. It is a little bit of a, I would almost call it a survival horror. Oh gosh, there's creatures out here, all sorts of different interesting things you can see, but it does get pitch black and you're swimming around in the dark ocean, so I would almost go ahead and call it partially a survival horror game, in an aspect that you don't know where you are, what you're doing, or what is out there, because of course all of our oceans above ground here in the real world are mostly unexplored. We have no idea what fills and inhabits these places. At first, your base is going to be very simple. It's going to look something like this. Yes, you can build your own base. It's not going to have any oxygen. You're going to have to build everything you need for this base to sustain you and itself. But as you can see here, as you get more and more items and you get better at fabricating them, your base is going to look something like this. Impressive, if I do say so myself. Woohoo. Yes, you can get plenty of items to put inside your base and really design it as much as you wish, kind of like a Minecraft house, like I was saying before, the Minecraft of the ocean. It is a game where you have a lot of creative power as the individual playing the game. So if you're feeling like I did when I first jumped into this game, a little overwhelmed and a little like, oh my gosh, this is going to take so much work, don't get discouraged. It does go faster than you think it does, And of course, you can use YouTube has some guides and things like that, but just don't get discouraged at first. This is going to take a while. As you can see, there's lots of things you can do, a lot of things you can dabble in. The way you create your base is with a tool you will construct eventually called the Habitat Builder. It's as simple as this. You click on an item, and you click where you would like that item to go, and you simply hold down the A button if you're playing Xbox, or X if you're playing PlayStation, and you go ahead and just place it in the world where you want it to go. Kind of like, again, Minecraft, where you just build your item right in front of you. And as you'll see here, you can also build all sorts of closets and storage units and things like that so that you can hold your items. Eventually, you will fill this up quite a bit. You may need lots of them. You see some of these gamers that play this game avidly, and they have tons and tons of storage units. You will need some power cells and batteries. Those are probably two of the most important things in this game, as everything that you use does run on some sort of battery or power cell. You'll always want to have some on hand unless you find yourself stranded in the ocean with no power. That is a terrifying thought. Collecting materials is simple enough. You simply go up to any rock or thing you see and you go ahead and break it, and you will get items from it, kind of like in, again, Minecraft. I hate to keep going back there. You're also equipped with a survival knife that doubles as a weapon. You can use that to cut into some things in the environment and get items from that as well, little samples of them. At the beginning, you're basically just going to be swimming around collecting as many things as you can. As you get these things, you go ahead and store them in your little locker, and you wait until you have enough of them to create the items needed in the fabricator. And of course, the fabricator actually tells you what items you're going to need, or what resources you're going to need to create said items. So you will just need to stockpile as much as you can and try and build the tools needed to survive. The amount of tools you can create and the amount of resources needed, they do increase as you go through the game. So you will have the ability to create quite a few different things that you weren't able to create at the beginning, later on in the actual game itself. And the fabricator is pretty simple. I mean, as you click the button, it just creates it right in front of you. It goes straight into your inventory. Bing, bang, boom, you're done, you're ready. Fragments of some of these items are also out in the world. You can find them laying on the ground or in boxes. As you explore, you can scan these items and it will give you the blueprint needed to create said item, and it will now tell you the ingredients needed, and that's how you find new things to build. As you can see here, one of the items you can eventually build is a scanner room. In this scanner room, you can actually use cameras, free-floating cameras, to drive around out in the world. As you place these cameras, they will find the resources you need, and they will locate those resources for you, kind of tell you what's around your base. It's kind of a fast-track way to go ahead and find the items needed, but you are going to have to find the pieces of this scanner room. Again, you can find the locations of them on YouTube if you're too lazy to explore. And once you know where these items are, you can start stockpiling them at a faster rate than normal. This is a good way to do things. Once you find the item that you want, or if there's a specific item, you can click on it. The scanner room will locate it for you. It'll start scanning for it. It'll map it out right behind you, and you can kind of use your map to go find the items. It's easier than just swimming around and hoping you don't die. But don't get me wrong, there's going to be a lot of that. Eventually, with the rooms and the vehicles you build, there will be all sorts of upgrades you can get as well. Once you put these upgrades in, they will help you either scan things faster, or they will provide you with stronger hulls or deeper diving for your vehicles. Two of the things you're first going to build are the Sea Glide and the Sea Moth. You can use these things to traverse the environment a lot faster and a lot safer, and get out of danger a little quicker than you would before. It really adds a comfort factor when you're exploring. So if I was to suggest two things to make as soon as possible, it would be the Sea Glide and the Sea Moth. There's all sorts of little predators lurking around the ocean, like this little bastard. Leave me alone. Go away. Go away! These vehicles are now not invincible, however. You can see you can take damage. You can also go too far down. Some of these have a specific depth they work up to, and the depth goes down really, really far. So you can take damage to your hull if you go down too far too fast. Along with the Sea Moth and the Sea Glide, there are a plethora of other vehicles you can create. You can create the Cyclops, which is almost a full-fledged submarine, and even the Prawn Suit eventually, which I have not even created yet. It takes a lot of items that are very hard to find, but they have extreme power that these other vehicles don't. They're going to take a long time for you to create, and especially if you're trying to find the pieces as well. But, like I said, there's a lot of creative potential in this game for you to create basically whatever you want and prioritize certain things over other things. As you could guess, the deeper you go, the better things you are going to find. However, you do inherit an inherent risk when diving deeper, as it's a little less safe than being towards the surface, of course. I mean, the better things you find, of course, they're going to test you a little more and make it a little more dangerous. Because you are on an alien planet, you are going to run into alien life forms that can do certain amounts of damage, a lot higher than normal fish and other predators in the sea. You'll want to steer clear of these creatures. Even if you get to a higher level, there are no actual super-powered weapons that you can use to kill these creatures with. Eventually, you will get some rifles and things like that, but still, some of these creatures take so much damage, they can disappear, they can have different sorts of abilities, so you're going to want to watch your back. Especially if you're in the ocean, they pop up behind you, that is a heart attack waiting to happen. Oh god, okay, we have company, we have a visitor. Hey, why don't you just stay up there? I'm gonna grab this and I'll be out of your hair. It'll take me 2 seconds. I'm cleaning up your ocean. It's Operation Clean Stream here. Leave me alone. Go away. Go. Nope. You're good where you're at. Eventually, you're going to get down to some depths where things get a little shady. And of course, the deeper you go, the better the reward, but the risk gets pretty extreme. Your best option is to take a vehicle as deep down as you can go and use that as an oxygen source, as they run on their own oxygen tanks. That way you can kind of dive out of the vehicle, grab some items, and get back to it before you get killed by a creature. Although those vehicles do take damage, they're usually fast enough where you can escape from creatures that are trying to attack you. Which, although it's rare, some of the creatures, again, they're not to be messed with.
New blueprint acquired.
It's very important to use the scanner to scan your environment as well. It will get you new blueprints you can synthesize, and you can use them to create new items. Again, it's not just the little shipwrecks and metal that you find. The most important precaution you want to take in the game is watching your oxygen meter. You can indeed run out of oxygen, and just in case you wonder what would happen if you run out of oxygen, you will pass out, die, and end up back at your base, and you will lose some items after you die. That's pretty much the only punishment for death, but once you collect all those items, you really don't want to have to go back and do it again. And you won't lose all the items, but you will come across that you've lost some items that you really didn't want to lose. Again, once you've unlocked the Sea Moth, I would suggest using that to traverse most of the environment, and then getting out to explore with the Sea Glide, or just by yourself, so that way you have an oxygen source readily available nearby where you can just jump in, refill your oxygen, and go back to explore. Although this game is based on sea exploration, you can actually also go up on dry land to find all sorts of different things. In your land travels, you're going to come across alien technology, giant mysterious towers with force fields, and all sorts of different things. You can explore these to your leisure, and it will help you kind of work out some of the story. What happened here? How did you crash? What are you really hoping to achieve? And is there an actual end game to this exploration, or are you just going to survive here until the end of days? Sometimes you will get little missions from your radio in the escape pod or in one of your bases, and you can follow those to get more items and also learn more of the story as you go. Finding these alien artifacts, you will also find upgrades for your vehicles eventually lying around that you can use to explore greater depths at a safer and less risk-inducing way. And again, at the beginning, you pretty much want to stay kind of shallow and try and stockpile ingredients, because if you go deep enough, it's going to be like in Skyrim when you turn the wrong corner and there's an enemy that's way stronger than you, or you try and hit a giant with a sword and it just pretty much wipes you off the face of the earth. These creatures are going to act the same way. So upgrade your vehicles and keep power supplies on you so that you're not stranded or trapped. Ooh, electric fishy, go away. Yeah, this is pretty deep in the game. Now that I have explored everything I need to explore and built a lot of the tools, it's now up to me to figure out what I want to do next. And I like exploring as deep down as possible to find new adventures. There's a lot of things to find down here, and you will find some pretty incredible things in the ocean. A lot more of the same supplies that you found. You can find giant stacks of it. That way you can stockpile quicker. It's kind of a fast-paced game once you get lower. The beauty inherent in this game is really what gets me. It's the exploration. It's finding giant creatures and figuring out what makes them tick. Most of the environment is interactable, and you will figure out all sorts of different things you can do. You're learning new things every 5 seconds, or finding these giant floating masses and going, hey, what's that? I wonder what that is. Can I go up to it? Will it hurt me? It's most of the incredible exploration in this game that makes it what it is. It's a lot different from other games that are out there. Less like Minecraft, in a game where everything kind of looks the same and it's up to you. This game has so many different places to go, so many different things to explore, so many different things to find, that if you played it again, you're not going to go through it the same way twice. The animals interact with you, from the predators to, oh, I think I hit a fish. You can hit pretty much anything. I mean, all the environment is so alive around you. It doesn't feel like, even though you're in the same location, it's not stagnant. It never really gets old. There will be time in your adventures where you get some balls and you just want to see what happens. I mean, at this point, I hit this giant squid thing and it let out this giant electrical blast that scared the absolute shit out of me until I retreated to my base. I mean, there's just so many things to accomplish, so many things to experiment with in this game. If you're a scientist, this would be your dream pastime video game. And that's a beginner's guide, my friend. If you are interested in playing something that's a little different from all the other games on the market, I hear this is a little similar to No Man's Sky, but I haven't played that either. But if you're looking for something that's not the same old, this may be the game for you if you can get over your crippling fear of swimming around in deep water at night, like I had to play this.